Hello, we'd like to invite you to the West Freehold Schoolhouse tour. This is located in Freehold Township in New Jersey. We have been in continuous use from 1847 to 1935. We have the original well that was placed at the Mounts Corner Tavern, or Mounts Tavern as it was known during the American Revolution. The schoolhouse is on its original stone foundation. We have the original windows, and the wood has been replaced. We do have the two doors saying boys and girls. As the children would come in, the teacher would line them up to take them inside, and that's what we're going to do right now. And welcome to the West Freehold Schoolhouse. This is a little refrigerator, cold storage, whatever you want to call it. This was built into the cabinet to keep their things cold for lunch. This schoolhouse is exactly the way we found it when we opened it up in 1999 to make it into a museum. We were lucky enough to have the desks and most of the chairs. The blackboards are not the original. They are painted with blackboard paint. The original blackboards were taken down in 1935 when the school was closed, and they were given away as souvenirs. We also have the original schoolhouse bell that is no longer in the cupola. We no longer have a bell tower because the building cannot support it. The teacher's desk is original, and it's very interesting because the top part of the desk goes down into itself to actually lock. The grades that were here were 1 through 8. We had no less than 50 to 55 students at a time going to school in this schoolhouse. We had mainly farmers living in the area. Everything was within a 2-mile walking distance. This schoolhouse is one of 2 left standing in the township. The other is the Georgia Road Schoolhouse, which is on a land grant from King George in 1735. We do have an honor roll of students' names, prominent citizens that went to the school. We also have several pictures of the students that went to the school, class pictures. The oldest we have is from 1903, and you'll notice that the students are facing in the opposite direction as the desks are now. That's because the photographer could not take the picture from the front of the schoolhouse and get everyone in. So they turned all the desks around and they had it taken from the rear of the building. We have each bulletin board has the particular grade and what they should have been studying. And as everyone knows, it's all to do with going off the blackboard, not using textbooks. And at the time in 1847, they really didn't have paper either. So they had the slate boards to write on, to do their projects on. We do have some of the readers, the McGuffey readers. We also have the desks all have inkwells, but knowing that there were only the older students were using the inkwells, we have just enough for the 7th and 8th graders. We also have a journal page here that is very interesting because this is from 1862, and as it says, they had 2 colored children going to the school at that time. They were from the farm across the way called the Solomon Farm, and Mr. Solomon was very interested in education, and he decided that the children of his major slave were going to have an education. We also have here an atlas from 1862 as well, and I don't know if I can really zoom in here, but there are several interesting spots in here. One is that the Dakotas are not separated yet. The other is that Oklahoma is called Indian Territory. Canada is called British Possession. And everything else, I believe, is the way it should be. We also have here a attendance record from 1881. And on the attendance records, they always put down the weather of the day. That was because students were coming in, or maybe they weren't coming in. If it was a snowstorm, heavy rainstorm, whatever the case may be, they had to know the weather because that was included in their final grade. If they missed 2 or 3 days, it wasn't because of weather, then they would get a demerit for missing the days. Also up on the wall, you'll notice that we have the aprons and the vests for the children. As they walked into school, they would have put these on to protect their clothing because most of the children were only having 2 sets of clothing, one for Sunday church, one for working. These were made for us by a volunteer. And we have a couple of, they're called county school certificates. These would have been their 8th grade graduations. We were lucky enough to have some people bring them back to us. We do have a picture of the outside of the schoolhouse, and you'll notice that the porch is enclosed at this point. This is in 1935. They needed more room for the students, so they actually put an addition on and enclosed it. Now, the school was operated from 1847 to 1935. In 1935, they consolidated all the one-room schoolhouses within Freehold Township, and they all were sent to the new West Freehold School, which is about a quarter of a mile away from us on 537. You can actually almost see the building from here. It's just beyond that house. And that is now the administration building. So we took all the students, put them in that West Freehold School until in 1935. Then in 1940, they decided they still needed more room, and they reopened the Georgia Road Schoolhouse for special education. This is our library. This closet also serves as a punishment room. And if you look at this, it is indented, so you can actually stand inside, close the door, and depending on what you had done wrong, you would have stayed in the closet until the teacher found it necessary for you to come out. We also have a very interesting artifact here that was given to us by the Civil War reenactors that we work with. And this is a board with the number 18 on it. And what they did was when the children, or when people were signing up for the Civil War, they would ask them how old they were. And if they were under 18, they were not allowed to join. So what they would do is, if they stood on the board and the number 18 was below their feet, then they would say, "Are you over 18?" And they could say yes. They were not lying. Okay, this is our map of all the school districts in Freehold Township at the time. And this map, I think, dates to the late 1800s. So we were in continuous operation from 1847 to 1935. And then the building was turned over to the township, and the township became the township's town hall. So this is our schoolhouse that we're very proud of, and we hope you've enjoyed your tour. You can reach us at www.oakleymuseum.org or Freehold Township's website, which is twp.nj.us. I'm sorry, I've lost track of what it's supposed to be. If you just Google us on Freehold Township, New Jersey, and go to the municipal website, that's us. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you have had a wonderful visit. Bye.